Now let's finish out our car by adding some car paint, some chrome to the rims, and some tread to the tires using some mental ray shaders. Alright, so this is our car. We've got our HDR lighting set up, ready to go. So now all we need to do is figure out how to make a convincing car paint shader on here. That's going to be really easy using a mental ray shader. So let's go into our hypershade. Alright, and we want to right click on here and we want to create a mental ray node. Click on that. And you're going to look under materials and you want to find this car paint phenomena shader. Okay, I'm going to just click on that. Bring that in. You can see the little icon right there. So now I'm going to do is I have all the panels that I want to be this shader already assigned to this temp car. So I'm just going to go ahead and select objects with material, and that will basically select all of my objects there. And then I'll say assign material to selection. Okay, and you can see now that that's been applied to all of those panels. You can see I've also added a transparent shader to the cover here of our headlight and some shaders here. You can go ahead and duplicate those if you want to, or you can just start from this file and go from there. Just a few simple. Here's the transparent shader for a headlight and so forth, and then the headlights themselves here. If you want to go and duplicate those, you can, or you can just use this file. All right. And if you want to go in here to the shader, if you want to manipulate this color, you can basically do that. Okay. You've got your base color here, which is basically obviously the base color that's going on your shader. Then you've got an edge color, which is kind of like this color as the surface moves away from facing the camera. Okay, so you've got your base color there. The edge color is usually you want to keep a dark color, in this case a black, or a really dark version or hue of or shade of your base color rather. Okay, and you've also got your lit color, which is basically this highlight up here, which you can change around like that. You usually also like to keep that some kind of version of this color. Okay, you can go in here and check out this edge color, how that changes as it moves away from the camera. Okay, it's kind of a neat transition between all these different colors to create this kind of a car paint shader look. Okay, let's go ahead and render this guy real quick and see how it looks. You saw how quickly we did that, and let's see what kind of effect we're able to get. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit render. Okay, here is our rendered result with combination of our HDR lighting and our car paint shader, and you saw how quickly we were able to do that, create this really cool effect. Okay, now let's go in and actually create a chrome shader for these wheels right here, and we'll do that using another mental ray shader called DGS. Now chrome is one of those tricky kind of shader effects to achieve because it doesn't really take its color from, it doesn't really have a color. It's basically kind of a mirror, okay? And that means that that color that is coming from that object is basically defined by what's being reflected in that. So it's all about kind of the reflection. Okay, and mental ray has a great shader that we're going to use for this. Go back into our hypershade, and for this one I'm going to just select this DGS material right here, and this is how it comes in. Let's go ahead and apply that DGS to all of our pieces here. Basically we want all these inside pieces here, the rim and the spokes. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the other side too, and then you can do the one on the far side. So I've got all these pieces selected. I'm going to go ahead and assign material. Now you can see right now it's not looking that impressive, even if I go in here and render this real quick. Alright, here's our finished image, and you can see it doesn't look all that impressive right here. And we'll just tweak some settings and we can get a much better result. So I'm going to drop that image in there. And now let's go in here and tweak some of these settings. Go into our material, and it's a DGS material. You might be able to look at this and see why it's called that. We've got diffuse, glossy, and specular settings that we can change here. we want to basically bump down our diffuse. Okay, that's the kind of light coming off the shader, the kind of lightness of that shader coming off there. We want to bump that down so it's getting most of that information from that reflection. And the glossiness is going to be kind of the blurry highlights around here. And we want to go ahead, a blurry reflection rather, we're going to bump those down as well. Now our specular is what we really want to bump up. So let's go ahead and bump that up to close to white, and we'll bump our shininess up as well. And then let's see what kind of different result we get. And here's our new result. You can see we've got a lot more shininess here, and depending on where your lighting is in your HDR image, you get a little bit difference right here. But if we look at this and then we go back to our previous one, you can see a big difference there and get a lot better chrome look here. Okay. The next thing we're going to take care of is we're going to go in here and add some tread to these tires. Okay. So I'm just going to bring up my hypershade here. And let's just create a new blend and bump that color down to something closer to black. And I'm going to just bump my diffuse down a little bit. And let's set our reflectivity really something to much lower. And you can tweak out your specular as well if you want to do that. Let's get kind of a rubber look there. And now we're going to add a bump map for the tread to this tire. Now these tires, because of the way they were built, they all share the same UVs. Okay, so if we take a look at those, basically right here, this is the UV map for a tire. So we've got a map pre-made to fit this that we're going to use as a bump map. Okay, and that's going to enable us to make it look like there's more geometry there and those treads are being pulled out, and also give it some lettering on the side here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and assign that to our tire. And then to simply add that, we're going to go in here and click on this little guy next to bump map, and then we can go ahead and add a file right here. You know, and find the file that we want. In this case, it's going to be a tire bump. And go ahead and add that in. Now at this point, our bump is set fairly high. We're going to bump that all the way down. Try something like 0.2, and then we'll give that a render and see how it looks. Okay, so let's move in here a little bit closer so we can really see that. And then we'll render that out. Okay, so here's a completed render with our tire. I've gone ahead and turned the wheel out just a little bit so you can see this tread. But you can see how it looks like we've got a lot more resolution in there than we really do. We've created the illusion that we've got this tread going all along the tire, and also this lettering going on the outside. It just adds that much more detail to the car. Okay, so I think maybe the last thing we want to do is go up here to this these glass pieces and add a nice dark tinted shader to that, and we'll just go ahead and add another blend to those. Just going to create a blend, and we'll just bump that color all the way down. And play with our specular a little bit. And let's go ahead and add that to these pieces. Okay, so I'm going to select these, basically all the glass here. Assign that. Looks like I missed a piece on our for a car shader. I'll go ahead and add that back in. And this guy. And now let's go ahead and do one last render here and see how it's looking. Get our camera set up right where we want it. And let's do a quick render. And there is the render of our car. And you can see how in just a few steps, using some really cool mental ray techniques in Maya, we've been able to at an HDR lighting setup. We've been able to go in here really quickly and add a car paint shader and get a nice chrome look on these wheels. We've added tread to these tires and really finished this car out nicely. Okay. Now we've just skimmed over a lot of these mental ray techniques. And if you want to get more in depth, like I said earlier, you can check out our mental ray rendering workflow training, which will give you a lot of great information. Okay. So we've just got probably one more lesson. We'll go in and check out everything that we've accomplished in this training and talk a little bit about what we've done here.